Bickley and Marotta Mornings. Arizona Sports. The local sports leader. Bickley Blast.
The Suns have more than a bad basketball team. They have a credibility crisis in the Valley. Fans are angry and angsty, and things are so bad that our NBA franchise has turned a word into a meme, a source of mockery. Alignment. You will never hear that word the same way again. But the problem with this whole concept is that you can be in perfect alignment and still be going in the wrong direction. And that is the prevailing fear in Arizona, that the Suns are traveling south when they should be heading north, and the worst is yet to come. And guess what? It's coming as we speak. It's because Mikal Bridges has been a playoff hero for the Knicks, which is reopening old wounds and making fans even angrier at Mat Ishbia. Tyrese Halliburton has also played a starring role in the postseason, which makes fans angry at James Jones. And circle next Monday on your calendar, folks. That's the day of the NBA draft lottery, and pray the Rockets don't luck out and walk away with Cooper Flag, adding to all the other red flags on Planet Orange. A dicey time indeed for an owner who only a year ago defiantly claimed 26 of 29 other teams would trade their teams for his Suns, an owner who now has a giant target on his back. All right, today's Bickley Blast brought to you by my great friends at Chapman BMW, who make luxury attainable. Find them online at chapmanbmw.com.
One other area that Matt and I are extremely aligned in is our competitiveness. So you're going to throw that challenge out there? All right, let's go. Let's go. And no one's going to outwork me. I think that's, that's a skill, that's a talent. Don't let anybody fool you, that's a talent. And we're going to think differently. We're going to be unified in our approach on a daily basis. And when you do that, then the results are going to speak for themselves. I have all the confidence in the world that under my leadership, with the alignment of Matt, with Josh, with our great staff that we have in every area that we have, that those changes are going to result in some great results.
That's Brian Gregory, the general manager of the Suns, at his introductory press conference earlier this week. I don't know if you saw it.
Yeah.
Cam Cox, our guy from 12 News, put together a compilation video. It's a minute 29 seconds long, where he put his buzzwords counter on. He counted 23 alignments and then a handful of identities and visions.
Oh,
well.
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And as I said to you,
Nick King had 26, but I think Nick had it as aligned or alignment.
Yes.
Yeah. So maybe that's where the extra 3 came from.
How many times did you say alignment or aligned in the Johnny Cash song, Jared?
Well, I said it a bunch of times, but I made one of the sound bites had a montage of several of them.
Yes.
It's quite silly.
I am to the point now already. I'm not going to call this. People are pointing at it. People are laughing at it. I think there's a lot of people that are very comfortable laughing at the Phoenix Suns right now, even before that press conference. But they'll look at the use of the buzzwords, and it'll just continue to go down that road. I am really looking forward to the first thing, and I'm glad you pointed it out. Look, the Suns are not involved in the draft lottery. If the Cooper Flag thing happens, then all bets are off.
It's chaos. It'll be, I think our collective heads would just go.
But I'm looking forward to that because it's actual basketball related. I'm looking forward to seeing who the Suns tab as their next head coach because it's something different to react to that's tangible. A lot of this stuff that was talked about on in Brian Gregory's press conference, it's not tangible. It's just talk. You have to pick it apart because it's what it's offered to you. But I really want to see what the first moves basketball-wise are for this franchise with Brian Gregory at the helm.
Yeah, I think, listen, it's unfortunate, again, that word has been used so much in the span of 2 different press conferences because, again, people are mocking the Suns and Brian Gregory. There were moments in that press conference where I was encouraged by what Brian Gregory said, and you played a clip, and one of the 3 or 4 things that I really did like that Brian Gregory said was that one right there where he said, all right, you're going to doubt us? Okay, fine. We're competitors. Come on, bring it on. That to me sounded real. That sounded authentic. That sounded like a guy who knows that they're getting ripped and who knows that people are going to doubt him as a GM with very, very little qualifications for the job. Okay, fine. I'm going to show y'all. I like that attitude. I would want him to have that attitude. And there were other things he said, too, that I liked. And like I said, I think I liked the fact that he had the chutzpah to walk up there on that stage alone and just walk it into the breach at a time when there was just lots of angst and lots of anger. But unfortunately, there was just way too much of leaning on that buzzword and going back to the copy points. And that's what has people kind of like, okay, what are we doing here?
There's got to be alignment, much more aligned.
We are completely aligned. The alignment is the team aligned, extremely aligned, the alignment. It's about building that alignment and to do it with the alignment. If you don't do that, there's no way you can build the alignment.
That's right. But again, you can be aligned and be going in the wrong direction.
Oh, absolutely.
Alignment isn't necessarily, it's a means to an end, but it's not an end.
Tim Ring told us yesterday that, weren't we told that everyone was aligned the last year and two? And all the
listen.
moves?
Oh, yeah. Listen, there was at one point in time, Mat Ishbia raved about the alignment with Mike Budenholzer until he didn't. Yeah, I do think that this is really one of the takeaways is that some of what happened behind the scenes was so surprising and so appalling as it related to the head coach that they are really vibing on that's the dude who blew this.
Yeah, well,
and look, and again, he played a starring role, but there's a lot of other issues that I hope they are not glossing over.
I agree with that, but the possibility is still out there that he was the main problem. One thing I can never get past, Bick, is with a lesser roster a year before, an underwhelming coaching job by a guy who won a championship, and there were challenges there too. And I don't think it was all hunky-dory in terms of alignment between coach and player when Frank Vogel was here. That team won 49 games and made the playoffs and avoided the play-in.
If you're right, then I'm actually even more disappointed at the ownership and the GM who was in place at the time and the leaders of this team for letting it affect them to the point where they're sleepwalking through games and showing no focus and not being ready to play and rebelling through their effort on the floor and thereby penalizing all of us. I'm upset that KD and Devin Booker didn't make this clear to everybody earlier. I'm mad that they didn't fire Mike Budenholzer earlier if he was really that big of an issue.
Yeah, and I think it was pretty telling on April 17th that after the press conference, and Mat Ishbia went on with Burns and Gambo asked him the question, should you have fired Mike Budenholzer? It was that bad. Should you have fired him earlier to try to salvage the season? And the first words out of his mouth were, maybe I should have. But I also think this was past, from an optical standpoint, it was past walking on eggshells. It was walking on glass. And I think that was everybody involved around Mike Budenholzer. That was here last year. From the ownership to the general manager, to Josh Bartelstein, to the players involved, Devin Booker and Kevin Durant. I mean, they're aware of what's going on. They're aware of what it means if they come out publicly and say, this coach is not the answer. We got to get rid of this guy. It's going to fall back on them at that point. So I think everybody collectively, and I don't even know if this was a conscious decision, but they all collectively fell on the sword, waited till the offseason. I also find it interesting that the Suns were dragged last year by a lot of national media for firing Frank Vogel. Where locally, I think the synopsis was, yeah, he probably deserved to be shown the door. You didn't hear anybody stepping up for Mike Budenholzer nationally after the job that he did and the way this team underachieved.
No, that's true.
Did you hear anybody?
No, not a soul.
Not even Charles Barkley.
Not a soul. No, you're absolutely right.
Yeah. Interesting stuff. We'll see where it goes moving forward.
Thanks for watching Bickley and Marotta. Click to see the latest Bickley Blast and hit the button in the middle to subscribe to Arizona Sports.